So this is the perfect reel, I thought. What else can you improve on this reel? The only thing I would improve on this reel would be this silly, funny V-shaped spool. I would just replace it with a normal spool so I could get a flat line lay. And then I would make it a true one-piece frame by making this a one piece with the actual frame, the real seat. I don't like these bolts here, and at least paint it black. Okay, that would make the reel perfect. So one day I'm browsing the same guy, the same vendor that had 50% off on this reel, and what do I see? He also has 45% off on this guy. Now this reel, as you can see, uses a normal spool. Look at this line lay. Tell me if it's not perfect. That is a perfect line lay. Perfectly flat line lay. So issue number 1 resolved. Issue number 2 not resolved. The frame is still not one piece with the real seat, but that's only like a idealistic kind of an issue. I would bet my car I will never have problem with this. But this reel also had one more advantage, and I'll go through this when I go through the components. So let's start with all of the components one by one. Frame, one piece thick aluminum frame, just like the shrapnel. When you hold it, when you reel it, it feels like a single piece, not like 50 components, you know, screwed together. It feels like one piece. I love this feeling of one piece aluminum frame. The gears. Look at this gearbox. Now this is a smaller reel, but the gearbox, the gearbox is a little bit smaller because this is a 100 size and this is a 300 size. If you order the 300 size, the gearbox would be the same. But this is anyway a bigger gearbox than, let's say, the gear set than, let's say, the Shimano Cardiff, which is a much bigger reel. So A+ for the gears. The gears are made of hardened heavy-duty brass. That is, however, cut with Daiwa's Jigging 2 precision. Now the shrapnel is cut with Jigging 1. So Daiwa claims that Jigging 2 is even higher level of precision of cutting the gears. So the teeth should fit so perfectly that you shouldn't even feel anything when you reel. Clutch. I'm going to go quick through all of these components because they are really the same like on the shrapnel. The clutch, listen. I mean, can you dream of a better clutch? Butter smooth. So positive. So firm, nothing mushy. Amazing clutch. All of these adjustment knobs here, the spool tension knob, micro clicks, the drag, micro clicks. You know, I was playing it with a loose reel at Cabela's the other day that cost over $200, and everything clicked too, even on the loose. And yet, it felt nothing like this Daiwa. The button was not tight. Like, this is super tight, and it clicks when you move like 1 millimeter. The button doesn't feel tight, and you need to rotate it significantly more, like let's say 3 millimeters to get one click. This has no practical meaning. The only difference is that the feeling that creates in the user, it just makes you feel that you work with some kind of jewelry or some laboratory instrument. It's the coolest feeling in the world. The drag, just like in the Shrapnel, amazing drag. Very steady, very strong drag. I haven't caught anything big on this, but I have no doubt I can fight the biggest catfish that I can get my hands on. The drag also clicks when the fish pulls line. Listen to this. We're losing a little bit. Okay, so you can hear it. It's audible. It's still quiet when you reel, but if the fish pulls drag, it's audible. I love that, just like on the spinning reels. Line guide is actually tapered, which means on the inside it's wider than on the outside, just to reduce the line friction and increase casting, even though this is not really a casting reel. This is a jigging reel, which means you drop and you jig. That's why it doesn't have that big line capacity either. The brakes exactly the same as on the Shrapnel, only different color. Only 2 pins, not much to adjust. You don't need to adjust the brakes on this reel anyway. This is not a finesse reel. One disadvantage, I love the smaller size. I prefer this size over the Shrapnel, okay? And it's lighter. But the handle, I don't care much about this handle. I really prefer, well, who wouldn't prefer? Well, look, it's actually, it's not that the Shrapnel has a bigger handle, but the knobs, it's just much better feeling. Much better feeling. I don't care much for the feeling of this EVA foam. It's still very smooth, but it's just, I mean, this can be the feeling of a Cast King handle knob. Okay, this cannot be. So that about the handle. So the Shrapnel does have a better handle. The Shrapnel is, in terms of aesthetics, I know that's subjective, but come on. The Shrapnel is so beautiful. Look at the spool tension knob. Look at how much everything is shiny here. I don't like shiny. And this blue color may be cool for saltwater fishing, but I would prefer if it were black. Okay, how do you find a rod that matches this color? You know, how do you find a fishing line? I had to buy a line just to match this this navy blue color. So let me do a little comparison between the Shrapnel and the bait jigging. On paper, the bait jigging should be much better reel. Why? You have mag seal, you have DigiGear 2, you have perfect line lay, okay, and it's a much smaller reel, okay, and while it's just as strong for all practical purposes. Now in practice, the Shrapnel feels better. And the Shrapnel feels better. I don't know if it's because it's bigger, But this reel, when you reel, it feels like all the tolerances are, while this is definitely my second tightest feeling reel, the shrapnel feels tighter. The shrapnel feels tighter. This reel is not as, like, is there free play? There is no free play anyway. I don't know how to describe it. When I reel, I feel like a little bit of shaking inside, a little bit of free play, very little. Like I said, much better than the Abus or Cat Max or Shimano. But I did not expect this. I don't know what's the reason for this. The shrapnel is just like I don't know, like a weapon. Okay, the clutches are the same, but I don't know, the shrapnel feels like you press the clutch like you lock and load a gun. Okay, the whole feeling is like of a weapon. This doesn't feel that amazing. Okay, but to me the shrapnel feels tighter. Okay, so if I start selling reels, I will sell this before this. But that's it. If one day I go on a saltwater fishing trip, these are good to have, because this is the only saltwater reel that I have. So I would like to do me some jigging with this reel. So that's what I have. I hope this helps with the purchasing decision of somebody who's considering this reel.